Welcome to my PowerPoint presentation of analysis and self-reflection on the book by John Wooden and Steve Jameson, Coach Wooden's Leadership Game Plan for Success. This presentation has been created for the subject ESSC12007, Exercise and Sports Psychology. This PowerPoint will cover 6 main areas. Firstly, I will provide an introduction to the book, followed by a brief description of John Wooden's achievements, after which will be a description of the first chapter, The Origins of Leadership, a Compass for Core Values. I will then discuss some important guiding principles mentioned throughout the book, followed by a discussion of the Pyramid of Success and lessons in leadership, and finally concluding with a summary and the ways in which the book personally impacted me. After reading Coach Wooden's Leadership Game Plan for Success, I truly felt as though I was receiving a one-on-one leadership course from an enthusiastic, down-to-earth expert on leadership and success in life. Not only did I find the book entertaining as it contained a large number of real-life examples, but I also found the experience valuable through the many teachings that John Wooden described. I will now just give a brief description of John Wooden's achievements. Throughout both his time as a player as well as a coach, Wooden was achieving greatness. Wooden was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame as both a player in 1961 and a coach in 1973. John Wooden pushed his team to win 88 consecutive games in a row, and he is widely regarded as the greatest college coach in history. His 10 NCAA national championships while at UCLA are unmatched. John Wooden is highly respected for his coaching methods and lessons in leadership, which are highly publicized, although he highly credits his father as a main instigator of his success. The book began with The Origins of Leadership, a Compass for Core Values, which I find most interesting to learn about Coach Wooden's upbringing and the experiences which shaped him into the leader that he became. This introduction to John Wooden's life made me feel an enormous amount of respect for the coach, making the concepts taught in the book appear legitimate, as they were obviously formed from successful experiences, as well as trials and errors throughout his career. I found it extremely valuable to learn that John Wooden's perspective on the most important aspects for leadership were being ethics and attitude, with money and success playing no part, meaning that successful leadership is accessible to anyone with the right mindset. There was a number of concepts expressed in the first chapters of the book, such as the Golden Rule, Dad's 2 sets of 3s, and Dad's 7-point creed, which express such simple concepts of leadership which can often be overlooked. John Wooden described these important guiding principles as being a compass for him in his years of teaching. John Wooden states in the book, Dad's principles, the points of his compass, had to do with ethics and attitude. I didn't know it at the time, but he was giving me what is at the core of strong leadership. These concepts really resonated within me as core values which can be translated into any situation in life, whether the sports arena, business arena, management arena, or leadership arena. I believe that these teachings can be used by individuals throughout the world, regardless of gender, age, background, or leadership focus. I personally am now challenged to use these many concepts in a working environment for team building with colleagues and to excel myself professionally. I also believe that with a healthy outlook on life expressed through the Golden Rule, treat others as you would wish to be treated, this expels negativity and depression in life and causes those around us to adopt the same outlook. The book constantly made me question my own personal abilities as a leader, which made me continuously contemplate my accountability to others. This was most prominent through the Pyramid of Success, where my individual qualities as a leader were broken down and analysed, comparing my ability against others in society today and from history who define each. I found this aspect of Coach Wooden's teaching most influential and beneficial, as I believe that after the in-depth self-reflection and analysis that is required, I now know the aspects of my leadership which need improvement, and can strive to change and become a better leader. I also found it valuable to analyse the leadership qualities of other leaders in life, as I was able to create a picture of the ideal leader that I strive to be. I also found it valuable to have an idea of a number of different athletes, entrepreneurs, businessmen, and otherwise, in order to meditate upon the great qualities that they possessed, and the ways in which they impacted upon the world, leaving behind a long-standing legacy. I found Chapter 3, 12 Lessons in Leadership, a great learning curve when it came to understanding how to physically develop into a good leader, in order to lead others. The most outstanding fact that I noted was that by acting a certain way as a leader, you will attract like-minded people. I found a quote by John Wooden to resound this fact. Character, doing the right thing, is fundamental to successful leadership. I learnt from this teaching that as leaders we are constantly being watched and copied by those around us. Therefore, by adopting good standards, values and attitudes, this will resonate in those under your leadership. This is also true of bad values and habits. Therefore, it is extremely important that we ourselves, as well as others, are providing ourselves with feedback on our character. This is a lesson that will definitely stick with me into the future. I learnt that it is not only useful to criticize and provide discipline to those under your leadership, but also to provide love and friendship. It is apparent through Coach Wooden's teaching, especially the Golden Rule, that a team cooperates more efficiently when there is a positive mutual feeling throughout all team members. A big lesson for me personally was to understand that love does not mean that you tolerate bad behavior. Often I can become too tolerant of bad behavior with the children that I lead, as I feel as though I will produce a negative impact on the individual. Therefore, this teaching is extremely important for my future leadership goals. I felt that I could relate with John Wooden's approach to leadership as better to teach than to preach. I strongly believe that a leader should not be a dictator, but should work with individuals to promote learning, most appropriately by teaching through example, whilst always learning yourself and being open to ideas and criticism. I gathered some great teaching tools from John Wooden after reading the section discussing concentrating on specific goals for each individual and not judging the team as a whole. I learnt from this specific lesson that it is more important to focus on running the race rather than winning it. This drove me to develop a monthly pyramid of success in order to encourage and inspire those under my leadership to become greater individuals. I have aspirations to become a teacher in the future, therefore John Wooden's leadership game plan for success has taught me many leadership values and lessons in life, which I can take with me into future jobs and walks of life. However, I believe that John Wooden's teachings will not only develop me in a professional arena, but also a personal arena, as I have been able to analyze myself individually and discuss the person I strive to be, and the ways in which I can achieve this. I learnt that great leaders are forged from events, experience, observation and education, and that constant education provided from great leaders such as Coach Wooden are invaluable in forming an individual into a great leader. Thank you for listening.